Good morning and a very warm welcome to our webinar today. We're very pleased to have you all back with us for the second of our product feature webinar, and this time it's on an appointments. And I'm joined today by Eloise, who I'm sure is no stranger to most of you. You'll know her from doing your implementations and all the way along. Eloise is going to take us through the demonstration, and we'll be in full screen mode for that. And please, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the chat and I'll ask on your behalf at the end. And enjoy the webinar, and I will see you later.
Amazing, thank you, Fee. So hi everyone, today I'm going to be going through the appointments feature and how it works in FLG and how it can help you to reduce all of your missed follow-ups, automate your booking process and give your customers more control over booking time in with you. I'll be showing this live from within the system, so you'll be able to see exactly how it works day to day, rather than just hearing about it from us. So before I actually jump into the webinar, there's just a couple of things that I'd like you to think about whilst watching this. So think about how often you currently have missed follow-ups. Do you experience no-shows for appointments? How much time do you usually spend manually sending emails back and forth trying to schedule that time in? And lastly, how much easier would it be if customers could book in with you directly? So whilst you think about that, I'm going to jump straight in and show you how we can actually configure this within the platform. So as most of you are normally aware, you will have your main dashboard. They'll have all of your tasks, all of your email responses and things to do for that day. To the left-hand side, what you will find is an option to update your profile. So from here, what you can then do is connect your calendar. So you might have seen this screen before when updating details, but you will have the functionality to connect an external calendar directly into the FLG platform. So whether that is Microsoft Office 365, Teams calendars, Google, that can all be directed straight into FLG. So this will automatically pick up your availability. So if you have got things blocked out in your external calendars already, it will make sure that that is skipped. We've now got the appointment rules, and from here what we can do is schedule different types of appointments. So do you want different minimal scheduling notices? So that means how far in advance people can actually book into your diary. So if you don't want last minute drop-ins, then you can amend this directly here. You've also got the buffer time between appointments. So if you do like prep for maybe follow-ups, or if you do like to prep beforehand, this just allows you some time before and after the appointment to make sure that you can get that sent out. You'll then also have your start intervals. So this is how frequent that your appointments are scheduled in. So if you do prefer to have it every 15 minutes or maybe every hour, you can also amend this here. On the bottom of the page, what you will find is your availability. So this is usually good if you work part-time, maybe if you only work on certain days, you can come in and amend your availability as well. So I know some people like to book out things like their lunch. So if customers are booking in externally, they do have that gap in between. So you can add as many as you'd like within here, and also the option to copy to other days as well. So if you would prefer to obviously have different times and dates set, then you can absolutely do that via the appointment rules here. So once that's all set up, that means that you're good to go, and we can get ready into actually configuring the appointments and the types within the platform. So you will have the option on the left-hand side just to go to settings and appointments. And from here, what you can then do is create your own appointment types. So this can be done by one user, this can be done by groups of people, maybe like a sales team if you've got multiple different appointments. But essentially what we can do is pre-populate that information every single time to save you obviously manually inputting this in your own calendars. So I'm just going to start by going to new appointment type. And from here, what I can do is give it an appointment name. So with the appointment name, this is what you're going to see inside the platform internally. So it doesn't need to be overcomplicated, just something really simple that you guys will know exactly what it is. And then we've got the option for the lead group. So if you have got multiple different products or maybe different types of leads, we can actually segment them by lead group as well. So for today, I'm just going to select appointments webinar. and now I'm going to give it a title. So the appointment title is a little bit more professional because this is what the customer and yourself are going to see in your diaries. So maybe just give it a little bit more of a more unique name. So for this one, I'm just going to do FLG demo, but this time I'm going to let them know who that appointment is with. We'll then have the duration. So how long would you like that appointment to be? So usually for my demos, I book in an hour. So I'm just going to amend that here. And then we get to the users as well. So as I mentioned before on the webinar, we do have options to do it either on a user basis or in a group of people. If you do select an individual user, this will just pull through their availability at that time that is in their current calendar. And if you do it in a group of people, so say, for example, if me and Wes were both in the sales team, it would just pick up the first person's availability. So if a customer booked in at 10 o'clock and I was the only person that was available, then that would go to me rather than Wes. But it just gives you more flexibility when you are obviously booking in the appointments, that the customer can directly see that and have more options to choose from. So I am just going to go ahead and select myself for now. And then I've got the option for the location. So this is the final step of where that appointment's going to be. So if you select the site address, that might be if they're coming to visit you at your office or on site, and that will just pull through from the details that are already on the platform. Exactly the same with the address on the lead, but this time it might be if you're going to visit them. So maybe if it's a home visit or if you're meeting them somewhere, you can put this information in. And then we've got the option for other. So here you can put things like telephone call. I'm just going to put Microsoft Teams in here just to make it clear exactly where that appointment is going to be. And lastly, the option to select the invite to the customer. So from here, it's just going to send the invite directly to them. You can untick this if you just want it something internally to note that that appointment's happened. But then once that's done, we can just go ahead and select save. Now that that's been completed, I can see it in the list of my appointment types. You can have as many in here as you prefer. So if you do have different types of appointments for different people, whether that is telephone calls, video calls, face-to-face, we can categorize them directly within the settings. So now I'm going to show you exactly how that works on a lead record. So essentially what that means is how we're going to book the appointment in internally. So I'm just going to navigate over to a lead record that I've created for today. And from here, I can now create an appointment or essentially start different workflows to trigger these automations to go out. So all I'm going to do is head over to the new and appointment. And once that's loaded, I can then select the appointment type that we've just created within the platform. So rather than me typing all that information again, it is just simple. It's already configured and I can go ahead and input that information. So now that that's done, I can go ahead and select the time and day that that's available. You can go further in advance if you'd prefer. So if they want a date, maybe in a couple of months, they can also choose that directly. But for today, I'm just going to go with one for tomorrow at 1 o'clock. You can see obviously all my intervals are in 15 minutes because that's how we set it previously, but they will have plenty of options to choose from. So once that's done and I have selected next, I can see exactly who that's scheduled with, all of the information about that appointment, and just clarify that that's all correct before selecting save. So now that that appointment's been created, I'm happy that that's all been done. I can now return back to the lead record. And I can now see that I've got emails, text messages, appointment tasks, and also the appointment itself, all automatically dropped onto the lead record. So it has updated the status for me just off the back of the appointment being booked. So now that that status is updated, I have a text message that has gone out just confirming to the client the information around that appointment. I also have an email that has gone out to the client as well, just letting them know the exact details and agenda that I'm going to be following as part of that demo process, as well as obviously next steps as well. So we do use different template variables for each of these. So we can pull through different titles for the appointments, the date and time of the appointment, maybe even who that appointment is with as well. So once that's done, and obviously I can go back to the lead record, I will find the different tasks and stuff that are on there as well. So you can see the appointment's been booked. I'm happy that I've confirmed that that appointment's there, so I can go ahead and mark that as complete. And I now have the appointment due for tomorrow at 1 p.m. So that's going to send a link out externally to the client as well, just to let them know that it's in their diary, the appointment's been booked and confirmed, and I have that visibility within FLG that that appointment has been held. If they have sat that meeting and I'm happy that that's gone ahead, I can just go ahead and tick that off. And that will start an audit trail on the lead record as well, to let everybody else on the team know, and myself, that that appointment has been scheduled in. We do have plenty of different options when it does come to the different statuses and the workflows around the appointments as well. So say, for example, if I wanted different reminders to go out, we can schedule these an hour before, week before, day before, if needed. But just to give you an idea exactly how that looks, you can see that I've got another email that has just gone out to the client, but this time I've got a form that they can fill out prior to the session. So if a customer has booked something in on your behalf and you do want to gather more information off them, we can trigger more information to go out to the client for them to complete prior to the meeting being held as well. So once that's all been done and you're happy with all of the information and the reminders have all gone out as and when needed, if a customer then needed to reschedule a meeting, they can also do that via the link. And from a customer perspective, this is essentially how that would look for them. So they'd have exactly the same screen that we had prior, where they can select the time and day that they would like the new appointment. Again, just making sure that they're happy that that's been completed. And from here, they have got their confirmation as well. The appointment's been booked, and you have also been notified internally to let you know that that appointment is there. So just going back to the dashboard, I can now see that an appointment has been booked. Everything else is has gone as needed, and all of the information required has been received to the client. Once that's done, you can just open up and tick these off as and when completed, or alternatively, you can just select the view button, which will take you to that exact lead record as well. If for whatever reason, for example, a customer hasn't turned up to a meeting, we do have the functionality in FLG to update the status to a no-show. So what that will do is trigger out different email responses, tasks internally, and things for you to complete as well, just so that the customer knows exactly that you've tried to reach out to them. The appointment was scheduled as needed, but it will also give them the option to rebook as well. So as you can see, we've got a nice little email that has just gone out to the customer, letting them know that we missed them on the call, but they're happy to reschedule again as and when, and they can go in as normal, following the link and select the new availability for that call. So now that that's all done on the lead record, and you can see exactly how the appointments work from within that section, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of how we can actually configure these automations within FLG. So I'm just going to head over to the settings and the lead groups. And from here, I can now select the lead types. What I can then do is essentially set up different types of automations to go out, whether that is tasks internally. You might maybe need to upload documents before the appointment, or there might be some stuff externally that needs completing as well. So you will have different options to choose from. So whether that is to start different workflows, contact the customer, even change the status automatically as well. And it's just as simple as selecting the drop downs, choosing what you want to happen. So whether that is a task or contacting the customer directly, selecting the template that you would like to send. So for this one, I'm just going to go with appointment no-show, and then you'll have the option to choose from when that happens as well. So as you can see at the top here, there's plenty to choose from. You've got from if the appointment's been cancelled, if it's been ticked off, a week before, hour before, as well as whether it was created by the customer internally or externally as well. This is essentially good, for example, if you've spoken to a client on the phone internally, you've already spoken to them around next steps and what's going to happen next. You might want a slightly different follow-up email or agenda for the appointment, going out as if it was somebody that you've never spoken to before. So this can just differentiate, obviously, whether that is a customer booking or an internal booking as well. And lastly, we also have around the workflows as well. If you would prefer, we can set them up in different ways where you have a completely separate workflow for the appointment status. So if it is an appointment booked, what would you like to happen? The difference with this one is essentially you can now choose when and where you want that to happen within the system. So rather than it just being an hour before or a day before, we can actually set a time and date of when you want this to appear. So it could be 7 days after the appointment, you'd like a task for yourself to maybe nurture that customer if they haven't responded. Maybe 2 days after, you want some information, maybe brochures, things like that to go out to the client as well. Then we can absolutely do that within the workflows. So again, exactly the same process. I'm just going to select add new action, contact the customer, and this time choose the template again. So this time I'm going to do appointment booked. And now you can check exactly when you want that to happen. So if I want that to be at 9 o'clock, I can now select 9 o'clock and that will go out at that time to the client as well. So with the appointments feature, as I mentioned, you will have all of your workflows included. You'll have your reminders, tasks as well as different agendas, the booking links, all going out to the client and yourself. So if there is no shows or missed calls or anything like that, the customer can directly book into your calendar. You've got your automations already configured so that you don't forget if an appointment is coming up, if there's stuff that you need to prep beforehand, as well as having the full audit trail as well directly in the platform. We do also have the options from within here to create reports if you do want different status change reports to see how many appointments have been booked, maybe how many people have responded via the emails or SMS, etc. Then we can also do that within the platform. So that is everything that I had to show today in regards to the appointments. Obviously, if there are any questions and you've dropped them in the chat, I'm happy to cover them. But we will also be offering health check calls, obviously demos as well, if you would like to see how this would work directly for you and your business and different use cases as well.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Eloise. I'm always amazed when I look at some of this functionality of just how easy it is. You know what I mean? That you don't need extra products. Like, you know, the last time when Wesley was showing us journeys and, you know, signature documentation and all that kind of stuff. And here, like, you don't need any extra things. So it's really great.
No, exactly. I know, obviously with me having demos quite often, it's one of the features that get mentioned quite a lot because obviously I know people are using third-party tools, but there's no actual tracking of that within the platform. So the fact that it's fully integrated as an FLG product just shows that everything can be done within that one space, especially when it comes to groups of people that are using the platform. I know some people internally have other people booking appointments for them, so it just makes it really useful that everything's in that one place.
Yeah, and I can see as well like how the automation is working and it's like a closed loop. I'm sure people use kind of like their best practice in terms of how they set it up and what they want to happen because it's like so flexible like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the automations, obviously all of the email and SMS templates that go out are completely customizable. So if, for example, you had a certain industry where you needed maybe a fact find doing before the appointment, we can actually include them into the follow-ups and the reminders as well that do go out. So it just makes sure that on that appointment, the person that is running that meeting or meeting that client face-to-face has everything needed prior to that call, just to make sure that they're fully prepped and ready to go.
Oh, that's brilliant, eh? And I've got to ask you, Eloise, now I know that you actually use FLG as your CRM, so you practice what you preach. Do you also use the appointments functionality?
Yes, absolutely. So I use the appointments in a few different ways. So say, for example, if an SDR books the appointment in for me, I've got that full visibility internally when that appointment's been booked, who that appointment's been booked with, as well as obviously the email trails that have gone out. Something that I didn't show on there as well is you do get the open click delivered on the email and the SMS as well. So I can physically go into the appointment type onto that lead record and see whether somebody has opened up the reminder so I know whether they're going to join or not. And then it's also good for me as well if I do have missed calls or maybe if somebody hasn't shown up to a demo, I've got them automations going out so I'm not constantly chasing that prospect, and obviously they can just book that time and when they're ready.
Oh, that's brilliant. So I do have some questions. The first one is this available for everybody? Does everybody get appointments automatically?
So the appointment feature is on the higher tier packages. So it means that if you do want the appointment feature, we can obviously configure that during the implementation time upon obviously renewals, or say, for example, if you are upgrading your package as well. So if you were new to this feature and it was something that was on a new package, we would actually help configure that throughout the process.
Amazing. That's brilliant. And I've got somebody here who said they're in insurance and they want to know, can booking the appointment trigger a task for people or admin to attach documents?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like I showed you on the workflows during the webinar, there are different options that go out externally. So I know that you've seen some of the emails that go out to the clients and also the text messages, but we can also trigger things to happen internally as well. So do you want a certain user to be assigned with a task upon appointment being created? Maybe if the appointment's been cancelled, do you like another task maybe that just notifies you to let you know maybe the documents need to go on hold? There is plenty of different things that you can do with the automations. It doesn't just have to be for external use.
Well, that's great. And obviously you set up the appointment there, but somebody has asked now, can you restrict who has access to actually edit the appointment, or can anybody in the group do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So each user has their own set of permissions. So if you did want somebody to have access, but maybe somebody else to not have access, we can actually untick them. So if you didn't want them booking appointments or didn't want them to edit anything or maybe create their own types, then it is just on a case-by-case basis. So each individual user would have their own permissions for that.
Oh, that's great. And looking at the kind of data insight side, somebody's asking, like, from a reporting point of view, like, are you able to kind of track conversions rates from booked appointments to closed deals?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have within FLG is we have two different types of reporting. Within the insights, we can actually customize different types of reports, and we can even schedule them out to yourself, maybe weekly, monthly, yearly, so that you can keep track of all of this information. So essentially what we could do is create maybe like a status change report, so you can see exactly how many leads have gone from appointment booked to converted, or even if how many have gone from appointment booked to no-show. So there is different options that you can choose within the reporting, but again, that is fully customizable to you and how you view that. But yeah, that can be scheduled out at any point as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. Right, well, I think that's about all the questions we have. Thanks again, Eloise, for taking us through it. I think for me, like appointments, I can see you can kind of make it as simple or as complicated as you want in terms of how many tasks you've got, and if you want emails to go off and so on. Like, there's lots of automation that can be included there, so that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And if any of you have any ideas of the type of functionality that you'd like us to cover in these future webinars, please let us know. We'd be quite happy to cover anything that you'd like to explore a bit further there. So thanks again, and I hope you have a great day, and we will see you again soon. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.